Hey everybody, welcome back to the Section 214 BC Lions podcast. I'm the host, Ascent, with my friend JS and Hammer. And usually we'd be doing a BC Lions game at this point, but we figured that we're going to do a bonus episode today because just to keep the weeks going and just keep the flow going, have it every week. So we're trying something different here. I first of all, I'm going to talk about the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Montreal Alouettes game just a little bit. Not, I mean, I'm gonna go into probably a little less detail than I usually do with the Lions games, but it was just a game that I was interested in watching. But unfortunately, I mean, I was the only one that was able to watch the whole thing pretty much. I mean, JS caught the end of it, and Emma didn't watch much of it, so you're just going to be hearing me talk through the game. Uh, but
Yeah,
yeah,
picking things up as I go.
I just thought, that game was important, so I wanted to cover that. And then, of course, after the recap is when we're going to talk about after the recap, we're going to do a kind of a wheel wheel. Well, I put topics on the wheel that have questions on them that all of us can answer. We're gonna do it in alphabetical order, so we'll answer the question in alphabetical order. So I'll always go first. But there's one space on the board that's um I put a Moai emoji on it, but I put it with more explanation on it. It's a wild card kind of slot where instead of me answering the question first, I answer um Hammer a question, then Hammer asks JS, and then JS asks me a question. So it's gonna be like a triangular kind of question rotation. Just anything you want, right?
That'll be
All
fun.
right,
um
here we
yeah.
go.
We'll hope we can land on that one today, but if not, we'll probably save that for the second bye week episode. And before I get into the recap, there's also two things that I want to talk about. Uh, guess one. I guess I'll save that for the end. I guess. Well, Hammer, you're in a different. You have a different background than usual. Why's that?
I was going to suggest, you can see there's no Coyotes jersey behind us. My family does a yearly vacation in the summer to Parksville, so we're here on the island. I'm now the northernmost podcaster on here.
Mhm.
It would have been you,
Not me.
because
Yeah.
yeah, but no, I'm also the second podcaster to be on the island. Jacob, you're in Victoria right now, so
Yep.
welcome,
Yeah,
welcome to the
about an
island.
hour south of where you are. So yeah.
An hour? Oh
Also,
boy, you're getting a speeding ticket if you're getting here in an hour.
Uh, okay, and I haven't been to the island as
Let's say
much,
2 hours
so
to be safe, so I'm
2 hours.
comfortable with the
Okay.
speed.
just a little bit more. And with
Yeah.
that, I'll
Um.
also suggest why we weren't able to podcast last night. It's because
Mhm,
first reason is because I was packing. There was a bit of complications around that, so thought it was better to move it
mhm.
to tonight. And we were almost late because of my travel schedule, but we made it work. Yet another reason, Jacob.
Yeah, let's just say, without going into too much detail, I didn't feel that great for part of yesterday, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and to give you a
that's
hint, it'd
best.
be like if you're on Reddit and you see a toothbrush with something growing out of it, that's why.
Exactly.
That's yeah. Uh,
That's why we don't want to go
uh,
any further.
yeah,
Exactly.
that's our hint. So, um, so yeah, so and I guess the last thing I'll talk about before I get into the recap is that we're thinking of our, our patriots and our compatriots in Jasper, who's going through pretty tough times right now with half of the town burned down because of forest fires, and our thoughts are extended to everyone living there, man, well, living and working there. I mean, some of them may even be Stampeders or Elks fans. I mean, their rifles on the field. Our fan base is on the field, but off the field, we care for them
Of
because
course.
we care for
Yeah,
be careful of their lives because yeah, being human being is
We're all part of the CFL family.
yep. Yeah, so we hope that there's Jasper goes for a speedy reconstruction period and just
Yep.
yep, that's
Prayers out to
yeah,
them.
that's
Absolutely.
yep, prayers too. So yeah, I guess without further ado, I'll just go into the Saskatchewan Montreal game and and this one, I mean, this was kind of a tale. This game was kind of a tale of two halves. Like our Lions games usually were, yeah. In this case, the Riders pretty much dominated the first half of the game. I mean, Evans was in as quarterback for Fajardo in Montreal, and he didn't do too great. Uh, so in the first quarter, I mean, the Riders took the kickoff and they had a flea flicker on the first play that failed. And Hickson had a pretty good game in the first half, and bafflingly the Riders stopped doing the run game in the second half, which I did not see a reason why they stopped that because they were having so much success in the first half. But yeah, just Hickson had a good first drive to have the Riders be able to kick a field goal to take the lead 3-0. Um, I almost said Ottawa because we were playing. uh, Montreal goes down the field on the first drive, and then they kick a chip shot to tie the game at 3. Maltos, the kicker for Montreal, ties the game at 3. Then Saskatchewan attempts a field goal from 56 yards, but the ball actually died. It was one of those comical. The ball kind of just dies in midair, and it just barely misses. Right, it hit the
Oh,
crossbar and out for a dead ball miss. Right, I was like, yes, no rouge.
that reminds me of the double doink dip.
Oh, there was another doink in this game too, but it wasn't a double doink. Yeah, but there was two bars hit, but
I just
this was the
wanted to
first one.
suggest, you said Saskatchewan, the run game thing. It wasn't AJ Ouellette out for this game?
Yeah, that's why I said that. Well, Hickson was the backup runner, and he was playing great in the first half
Hmm.
with Saskatchewan, and they just stopped running after this, right? And that cost them because, well, I mean, Montreal doesn't score on the missed field goal. Like they don't take advantage of that. They punt to the Riders, and then the Riders get it down the field, and then Hickson bails his way to the end zone for 21 yards, to take the 10-3 lead just to end the quarter. So that was the final play of the quarter, was a touchdown. So that sucks.
I can't
No matter
remember
how.
if this was like someone on Twitter or one of you who said this, but apparently this Alouettes first half was just as bad as our first half against Calgary. Like,
I can vouch for that well, I mean, even without my note taking, I'd probably say in general, like, yeah, Montreal's first half of Evans was terrible. Uh yeah, there was a lot of 2 and outs. Saskatchewan extended the lead to 13-3. So I mean, Saskatchewan could have even like really blown this open, right, at any point, but they kept getting field goals. Near the end of the second quarter, an interesting thing happened where Maltos, the kicker of Montreal, had a field goal attempt that got blocked, and Saskatchewan recovered on the Montreal 39, and the Boo Birds were out in that, and
ooh.
not just the annoying horns that RCFL loves to meme. It just and certainly TV fans hate, right? Like the horn, right?
So
Just
true to Montreal.
yeah, Boo Birds were out for Montreal in this one, but yeah, Saskatchewan recovered it on the Montreal 39, so they were immediately in field goal range for that. But they didn't do too much with it. Corey Mace called it safe and extended the lead to 16-3 with 8 seconds left to kind of end the half. So they scored on in 2 quarters. They scored on the last play of the drive. So I mean, yeah, it was a 16-3 lead the first half, and I'm going, Oh man, we're not getting any help today, are we? But in the second half, this is where things change because Montreal gets a kickoff and in comes Davis Alexander, the third string quarterback. And yeah, he takes over for Evans, who finished 9 for 17 for 91 yards. So that kind of feels like a that's even worse than Adams' worst game this year, right? That was
Boy.
yeah. Um yeah, Alexander. I mean, the legend of Alexander starts out with avoiding a sack like Houdini, and then throws it to Philpott for 30 yards for a first to get into the red zone, and then Alexander throws a touchdown strike to White to cut the lead to 16-10. Right, I mean, he was on fire, and he continued to be on fire because Saskatchewan was forced to punt after being sacked on second down after an offside penalty. So that again, that didn't help. And then yeah, Alexander just kept, throwing dime after dime. I mean, at one point, I mean, he was 12 for 12, and on the 12th, well, yeah, he was 12 for 12 before his first incompletion of the game, and on his
Goodness.
12th pass, it was another touchdown. Right, it was
Kind of legacy
it
run
was
is this?
yeah. It was yeah, on the 12th consecutive throw, it was a touchdown. So he was throwing for 147 yards in one quarter. That was like better than all of Evans' first half, right? So I was watching like, oh my God, is this like Adams Juju or something? Are we gonna get him next year? Just, uh, um, yeah. So yeah, Montreal takes the lead just like that, right? Just Saskatchewan forgot how to play football. I mean, and then they continue to forget how to play football, considering, yeah, yeah, they don't, yeah, they didn't score it all in the second half, right? It was just, a masterful job by Montreal to shut the Riders down. I mean, Montreal did, I mean, there was some, yeah, back and forth punts, and I think even, nope, no interceptions. I mean, it was just punting back and forth. You know, Maltos gets a field goal to go up 20-16, and yeah, that was pretty much Bob's your uncle. I mean, it was just yeah, it was just a incredible turnaround by Montreal, just scoring 20 unanswered points and just not allowing Saskatchewan to uh do anything after that first half. Right, that was crazy. But yeah, yeah, Montreal helps us out today. And as I'm watching it now, Ottawa's up 16-3 on Calgary, so that
Oh,
helps us too. Yeah.
we got two
Uh,
powerhouses in the East, Ottawa and
yeah.
Montreal.
Well, hopefully they keep winning for us when they're playing Western teams.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna be coming up on them very soon, right? Like, um, but yeah, Montreal helps BC, get back to first place in the West without doing anything. And I posted a GIF of Mario Party where Luigi just stands there doing nothing, and then everybody else is just like moving around and screwing up, and Luigi just stands there doing nothing, and he wins. That's what it felt like.
oh, I remember that
uh,
meme from the NFC South last year. The old Tampa
what
Bay
meme?
Buccaneers does nothing and they won the division.
Yeah. Well, yeah, a couple years it's been the NFC South trash heap, right? And my dad will account for that because he's a Saints fan. So, um, yeah, so yeah, that was a good game, good result for me to watch, and yeah, that's gonna be it for the game. So we're gonna
Things
get
we love
to
to
what
see.
we've been, yeah, which you love to see, and we're
With the
gonna get to
Lions
what
first place
we,
in the West. So yeah, we'll take it.
yeah, yeah, we're gonna get to what we've been waiting to do for a while now for these past few days, and we got our first Q&A wheel. So
Oh yeah.
I'll probably do five of these. So
Got a bit of
first
a
one
time
will
limit
be
here for one of
Yeah.
us.
Got about 15 or 20 minutes, so let's do it. Let's just see how it goes.
Yeah, have some
Okay,
fun.
first one is most interesting fact about yourself. So it's a non-sports related question that is first.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, I guess I'll just say, I mean, most interesting fact about myself. I mean, I guess, man, I'm probably gonna dox myself for this a little bit, but I always use this as an icebreaker answer whenever someone asks me like, what's the most interesting fact about myself. I just say, I was in an X-Files movie
Oh wow.
as a
Whoa.
character. Yeah. Um, yeah, it was it was the most recent X-Files movie, so it wasn't a very good one in the eyes of the fans, but I enjoyed being on that movie a lot, right? It was pretty pretty eye-opening for me for just to get like the kind of a Hollywood experience of being an actor in a movie, right? But yeah, I mean if you see me in that movie, I mean you'll probably instantly recognize it's me, even if I'm 11 years old back then, right? Because that's when I started that, which is
I'll have to
crazy. It
watch the
was
movie just to see that.
yeah, it was crazy. It was
Mm.
that was 16 years ago to this day. Oh yeah, uh,
Wow.
yeah, a lot of fun. So I guess Hammer, do you have an interesting fact or
Most interesting fact about myself. I was once interviewed by Kate Pedersen. I was on Canucks Twitter. So when
yeah,
I was at the Canucks meetup event. So for season ticket holders, and for the record, I'm not a season ticket holder. I bought a ticket off a season ticket holder to meet the players. And me and Simba, whenever he wants to come back here, we were in the
we hope he comes
concourse,
back
and
too, huh?
yeah, we do. We wish him well. We were in the concourse, and we wanted to take a picture with Kate Pedersen, and we do. And what we did is we asked the cameraman for a picture, and she just whips out the microphone right after she took a picture. So she interviewed us. I was caught off guard. My answers were a bit spotty. I was so shocked. And then for the rest of the day, I had like everyone I knew, even my family, was just telling me, like, you were on Canucks Twitter. And at one point, I was even on the TV broadcast because they were like
Wow.
highlighting fan experiences from the meetup event. So it was a bit overwhelming. And all these people were like, why didn't you say this? Or why didn't you say that? And I'm like, I didn't even know I was getting interviewed. So it was,
Yeah, we're on the spot, right? Yeah, I mean,
uh,
I was also gonna say, I mean, if it wasn't for my movie, I would have said I was also a Paralympic torchbearer for 2010. I mean,
oh,
it's kind
Oh
of fitting
wow.
considering the Olympic starts today, so, well, yeah, it was the Winter Olympics still, but yeah, I had a similar experience too, where I was interviewed for a radio station from Europe on the Paralympic torchbearing, right? I
it's
kind of gave just
nerve-wracking.
Oh.
yeah, I kind of gave that kind of those stock answers that you might hear from a sports interviewer going like, "Yeah, it's an incredible experience," and I would, I would love to experience it again one day or just something like that. I can't really remember what I said in the moment, but I might have given stock answers like you did. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
even when you're caught off guard, I mean, you were fast on your thinking, right? So
Yeah, no,
that's
I won't ever get mad at a player for giving a basic answer because,
No,
you
it's
know,
mm,
it's
mm.
you're
it's
on the
hard when you're put
spot.
on the spot.
I think when I was interviewed, I just said like it's been a great experience. I'm happy to meet the players, and I hope they keep it up this year. So,
Yeah, I'm just glad you didn't say, yeah, we gotta get pucks on that and play a 4-6, and oh wait, I don't play for this team.
And
Shoot.
give 110%.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah, and then of course if you're born in Adam, then you add praise God. Just, just, uh,
that would be
so
personal.
yeah, yeah, Jay, how are you?
Uh, Probably good that I went last because I had time to think of a good answer.
Yep.
I have touched the Grey Cup
Yeah,
twice.
Oh, so have I.
I don't remember when
nice.
the second time was. I just know that it happened, and you'll have to take my word for it. The first time was after they won the Grey Cup in 2011. They had this
Mhm.
locker room sale at the end of the season. Basically, y'all went down to BC Place and they had all this merchandise on sale. And my brother, me, I think my mom went. It was on a Saturday. We took the SkyTrain down. And it was right there. So we got this cute little picture of us with it. I wish I had it. Maybe for a future episode, I'll try and dig the picture up. And we
Mm.
got to touch and take little pictures. My brother and I were each holding one side of the cup, and we
You had
got
to
to make
hold it.
not hold it, but
Yeah.
like not lift
Uh,
it. No, little 11-year-old Jacob couldn't lift that.
yeah,
I
just
doubt
like
20.
just held the edges of it, right? Like the handles. So
I doubt 25-year-old Jacob could lift it.
I can't even lift it up.
But
It's
we got to meet
heavy.
some of the players. I did have a gray cup, like a 99th gray cup logo hat that had like signatures on it. Because I think Travis Lulay was there. We got to meet him.
Mm.
And that was really cool. And then the second time, I don't remember when it was. I just know that it happened.
This is why the CFL is such a great league. Like they're very
Yeah.
interacting with their fans. There's so many experiences to see the
Oh
Grey
yeah.
Cup. Like I've seen opportunities before games and to meet the players. They're all really nice. So it's really
Oh yeah, it's
special.
great.
Yeah. I mean, I never got to meet with any Lions players, but I hope I get that experience one day. But I think Jay, it's kind of funny that you defaulted to like a CFL answer when it was a non-CFL kind of clue or question.
I just wanted to brag that I've touched the
Yeah.
Grey Cup. Let's be honest.
Yeah, good one. I
Don't mean
defaulted
to
to a Canucks
brag,
answer.
but okay, okay, number two. Let's see it.
Oh, that was a good first question.
That was. I enjoyed that.
It could have realistically been any answer we wanted. So
This might be a fun off-season episode, just a whole episode of wheel questions.
Oh my
two
God, the
unfour
second
thoughts.
one is another non-sports related one.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Yeah, favorite movie or movie franchise. So I'll
Oh
start
boy.
here. I mean, my username is well, it used to be Ascent 007 on Reddit. I mean, I deleted that account, but I mean, on my Discord account, I have double O this, right? But that's kind of the yeah, that's kind of the indicator that that's my favorite movie franchise. So the James Bond movie franchise is
Oh,
my
there you
favorite.
go.
Yeah, it's been going on strong for roughly 62 years now. So yeah, it's one of the longest running film franchises ever. Uh, please, Barbara Broccoli, if you're somehow watching this, I need to know who the next James Bond is, because it's been since the last movie, and should be about time. Um, yeah, and I guess one thing I'll say about what I like about the James Bond movie series is that it's kind of it's. I mean, it kind of suits different tastes of action movie film bros or film watchers, like that. You can watch a James Bond movie that's crazy and off the wall and goofy, like some Sean Connery or Roger Moore Bond movies, or you can go into the more serious subject matter with certainly some of Pierce Brosnan, I think, before Dying Every Day, and definitely a few Daniel Craig movies, so on those more serious, hard-edged kind of Bond movies, and yeah, that's what I like about the Bond movie franchise. That it can suit different tastes, right? So yeah, okay, I'll move it to you, Hammer. Movie.
I just want to say, I mean, I think James Bond's a good choice. I've been seeing you've been sending really good James Bond gifs in the chat, so I can tell. I was gonna say
Hmm.
before this episode, like this might be the one question that's not too relevant to me because I've never been a huge movie watcher, and especially after
Hmm.
COVID, I just stopped going to the theaters. But before that, I would say my favorite movie series would just be the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Mm.
They always have really good ones. They're just really funny and they have great choices of characters and able to profile one character, turn it into a whole movie, or just branch off like in any different way. So I'm just gonna say Marvel for my answer and not expand very much.
Yeah,
I used to play
yeah.
video games a lot for Marvel. I pretty much stopped watching movie and TV and been committed to watching sports ever since.
There you go.
Yeah, I think I remember. Well, I mean, I'm not too much into the MCU myself, but I have watched a few movies myself, and I've even rented a couple of Marvel themed games back in the day. the Incredible Hulk on the GameCube. That's how long ago that was, right?
Wow,
That was 20
GameCube.
years ago. That was 20 years ago.
Yeah, I just want
Yeah,
to say like Shang-Chi and the Endgame series, like those were phenomenal movies, but that was all like
yeah,
5 years
I
ago
would
now.
agree.
I
Yep,
remember
I would
seeing
agree with that
Shang-Chi
too.
in theaters way back when.
Yeah,
Hmm.
love the actors.
Okay.
You want to move on to Jacob?
Uh, well, first off, I would say shout out to anything that could have been seen at the Dolphin Theater on Hastings Street for $2 on Toonie Tuesdays, but now that theater's closed. It's been closed for a while.
Oh no.
Been closed for a long
What do
time.
we owe?
Yeah, kind of like that. That's a childhood memory. But in terms of franchises, I would say it's Star Wars, and this is probably going to get me in trouble, but the prequels. And the reason for
Hmm.
that is as a person who has 2 degrees in political science and loves politics, we're not going to talk politics on the show, but I just love the
No.
political nature of the Star Wars prequel series. It's absolutely fascinating. I learn more about it each time I watch it. And
I am the
yeah,
Senate.
yeah, I could give you a whole episode on that one quote. But yeah, I'll start with that. I know the sequels are terrible. I think we can all agree on that. Terrible movies. I was very
I
disappointed.
actually
Oh
I haven't
yeah, the
watched the sequel
sequels.
movie. I haven't watched the sequel movie that
Okay, don't
actually,
waste your
but
time.
You mean
yeah,
like number 7, 8,
yeah, I've only
9?
Yeah,
watched I've only watched the prequel. Yeah, I've only watched the prequel and the original trilogy. That's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
thought,
Okay.
there you
yeah,
go.
Okay, let's do
Star
number
Wars is a
three,
great
and I
movie
guess
series.
Absolutely.
yeah. So James Bond, MCU, and yeah, Star Wars. That's pretty common for movie nerds.
I think we can all
These
agree on the three of them.
Yep, I
mhm.
think so.
I see clips on Instagram
Ah,
about James Bond. They're all really funny.
here we go. Okay, this is our first sports question. Favorite Canucks player of all time.
Oh boy.
And I'm gonna start. I mean, considering I'm the older state of the group here, I was around in the West Coast Express uh era. Like I watched the Canucks in the West Coast Express era, but um, yeah, it's a bit of a hard question, but I'm gonna say my favorite player was Roberto Luongo. Uh,
All right.
because
Can't go wrong with that.
yeah,
Good choice.
I was very happy seeing him lift the cup
Oh
for
yeah.
Florida, especially against the damn Oilers, right?
No
Um,
contest.
yeah, yeah, Luongo is my favorite player of all time. I mean, I enjoyed hearing the Lou chants every Canucks home game every time. I mean, and with Jim Houston's great save, Luongo, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was a very, very fun childhood memory of mine. I mean, even though I was more of a teenager, if anything, around the time when the Canucks were really awesome. But yeah, Luongo is my favorite player of all time. Uh, what's yours, Hammer?
Well, this is a little awkward question because I have a couple of favorite players in the NHL, and they're not Canucks players until this year. So I have like a Mount Rushmore of NHL players. Personally, I have four of them. Jared
Mm.
Spurgeon, Phoenix Copley, Kirill Vejmelka,
Copley.
and number four, I said his name wrong. Number four, Jake DeBrusk. So
Oh
I'm really
wow.
happy he signed for the Canucks this year. He was my favorite player last year. And I already have
Wow,
a Jake DeBrusk jersey on order. Like I said before the offseason, if Jake DeBrusk signs for the Canucks or if he gets traded here somehow, I'm getting a DeBrusk jersey. So I'm in the process of that. But
that's
of course,
crazy. Your favorite
yeah,
Canucks player of all time is someone who hasn't played a game yet
I
with us.
know.
There you
I
go.
loved him as a Bruin. Like I know I don't
Yeah.
like the Bruins as a team, but I love Jake DeBrusk. But if we wanted
Mm.
Hopefully
like
he
a
won't turn out
different
like
Canuck,
hopefully he
Yeah,
won't turn
I'm
out
excited for him too. So
hopefully he
yeah.
won't turn out like the last high profile former Bruin to come here.
Louis Erickson.
should I
Oh man.
also suggest my last favorite Canucks player was Andrei Kuzmenko, and I met him.
Oh,
Didn't turn out very well either.
I was
Mm.
there. That was fun.
You were there. We met Kuzmenko
I
together.
took the picture.
You did. A great picture.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, I was also gonna say, I mean, if Markstrom had stayed around a lot longer than he did, it would have been Markstrom because I met him when he was doing a car commercial at the North Shore Auto Mall, right?
Was
You
it
know the
the
ones
Audi?
that yeah, that was the Audi one, the one with Elias Pettersson when he did Speed, Agility,
Speed,
Power. I'm a
agility,
big fan of the movie,
power.
right? I was so shocked to see him you see Markstrom doing a commercial there, and yeah, I got a picture of him. In fact, it's up there in the fridge. You probably can't see it, but
Oh,
yeah, I got a
that's
picture of
pretty
me
cool.
and Markstrom up there. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, he dipped immediately as soon as I guess I'm like I got the kiss of death for goalies now. Like you're gone as soon as I meet you. But
Before
so
we
keep me away from Demko.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
before I move on to Jacob, I just want to say shout out to JT Miller because I also love JT Miller.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
quickly going up my favorite Canucks list. I mean, if
yeah,
he has another clutch goal in MO2, maybe in Game 7 in overtime
Yeah,
this
maybe
year, right?
you win with guys
Uh,
like JT Miller.
you do.
yeah.
All right, Jacob,
Okay.
who's
Well,
your guy?
speaking of Game 7 overtime winners, this is a hard question for me since I love all of well, not all of them, but virtually all the players I've watched. But I would have to say Alex Burrows, and the reason for that
Yeah.
is some of my most formative memories as a Canucks fan came during the 2011 Cup run, and there were two games in particular
Mm.
where Burrows was amazing. In both games, he scored two goals. The first was Game 7 against Chicago. He scored the first goal about 3 minutes into the game. The Canucks went up 1-0. In the third period, he missed a penalty shot, which would have put them up 2-0 and probably
What?
sealed the win. Then the game went to overtime, and he takes a holding penalty. So the Canucks have to kill off a power play in overtime of Game 7. Then he comes out of the box and like 2 minutes later scores, and we beat Chicago for the first time. And
Oh.
at that point, it would have been about 30 years. The 3-season curse was done. I remember my whole family cheered so loud that our little dog Simon, who was at the time a puppy, he's now 14 years old, he was so scared. And he had a little tail between his legs after Burrows scored. And then the second one I wanted to mention was Game 2 of the final against Boston. Again, he scored.
11 seconds in. Yeah,
Oh, we're not
I know
there yet
that.
though. He scored the first goal of
Oh,
the game on the power play. I remember this
yeah.
very clearly. He scored on the power play to give the Canucks a 1-0 lead, and then in overtime he scores 11 seconds in to give the Canucks a 2-0 lead in the final. And it was at that point that little 11-year-old Jacob thought, we're actually gonna win the Stanley Cup. And well, no comment.
Fatal,
No
yeah,
comment.
fatal last words to is.
Yeah.
Um,
What an
yeah,
icon.
I, yeah, I mean, it's funny because you say that because again, Alex Burrows did get traded to the Sens for Jonathan Dahlen. I remember that trade going down, and now that was seen as a loss for the Sens, right? Because Jonathan Dahlen was like a highly touted
And
prospect in
Burrows
the
at that
system,
point was
right?
past his prime,
Was
obviously, but
past his prime, and he scored 2 goals in his first game of the season. I went, oh yeah,
just
and I was count, and that whole 2017 one, I was counting on him to slay the dragon of the Penguins, right? Just he never
just
did. I was
just imagine what would have happened if Burrows had not scored against Chicago in overtime if we had not won that game.
oh
Whole
man, who
whole world would
would have
have
been
looked
one of
different.
Totally.
would oh,
He had three
yeah.
chances to win a cup with three different Canadian teams because he was an assistant for the Montreal Canadiens in 2021.
Yeah, they had no chance to win that series though, and
No,
everybody
they
knew and
didn't.
everybody knew it.
Yeah, even
But it
my
was
dad,
fun
he's
at
the
least.
most diehard. Yeah, even my dad, he's the most diehard Habs fan, and he didn't feel good about their chances
Nobody
against the
expected them to, and it
Lightning.
was they were lucky
No,
that series even went 5.
yeah, he's just happy he got to inflict massive pain on the Leafs, which I have yet to do. I have yet to see this team, and I was like only a year off from seeing the Canucks do it to the Leafs in '94, right? So
There you go.
I wasn't alive for that
Wow.
one, but I am so desperate to see the Sens beat the Leafs. Anyways, let's go for question number 4. Hopefully, it's the Lions one this time because
Yeah. We
I've
should
got
honestly
half of
pick a
these.
Lions one at the end if there's time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep,
But
got
if
about
not,
20 minutes to go.
there will
Here
be
we go.
another
Here we
highlight
go.
episode.
Favorite Lions player of all time. So we go from the Canucks player of all time to Lions player of all time. Well,
This is good.
again,
There we
I got a
go. Like
wealth of
it.
experience with this. I will say that this player, he he's a recent player actually. I mean, he's a recent player. I mean, this is again. I told my story about watching the Lions off and on in my younger days. I mean, I still remember the Grey Cups in my childhood, and but this is the more recent player that was my favorite Lions player of all time, and it's Brian Burnham, because
Yeah.
he made so many clutch catches on bad teams, right? Bad Lions teams, like really bad Lions teams. I'm talking before 2022 with Nathan Rourke, it was just 2021 was miserable. It was only a 4-win team, and yet Brian Burnham, he's still making these highlight reel catches for touchdowns. He's putting it all out there, and not only that, I mean it's something that I noticed. He kind of looks like he's Mark Stone. He's a darker skin like Mark Stone, right? It was I always called
Oh,
him not
really?
Mark Stone, right? I mean that's kind of like the one of the other reasons why I took him as my favorite player, right? Just I mean Mark Stone was also clutch with send at times too, right? But yeah, I'm Burnham with a very clutch receiver, and I'm hoping he gets like at least his name in the Ring of Honor at some point, because yeah, he was electrifying. Uh,
I would not have thought
so
of the Mark Stone thing, but
sorry,
I
what?
mean, I wouldn't have thought of the Mark Stone thing. But
Yeah,
also,
well,
I do agree. It's Ring of Honor.
yeah. If you put the two faces side by side, they look exactly alike. Well, and uh, so yeah, I guess Hammer. Well, I mean, you only came into the team for about a few years. Well, you watched the team a lot for about a few years now, but it might be a
Well,
little
I have a few answers here. So
easier.
there's a lot of
But it's a
players
little
in
easier, yeah.
a lot of players in BC Lions history, and I'll have to go with Aiden Everhart. I'm kidding.
Yes.
I'm not going to go with Aiden Everhart. A guy that I really liked. I'll pick two of them. First would be Solomon Elimimian, uh, legend of the CFL. I think he won MOP 1 year. I think most tackles in CFL history. So he was a great defensive player. I enjoyed watching him. And I remember when I was a kid, I was watching CFL games with my dad, and we would watch him chase the record for most tackles. So that was really fun. And the second guy, he's no longer on the Lions, Adam Bighill, because I met him before. The Lions were at the auto show. I know, Jacob, you don't really like him for being a bomber. I did meet him when I was a kid, when I was 8 or 9 years old at the auto show. And the Lions did something where they brought a bunch of players out and hosted a little event. So he's a nice guy. I know I also have a friend who is a Bombers fan. He met him as a Bomber, and he's a really nice guy. So those are my two
Yeah.
slash three answers.
So yeah,
Aberhart
you
is the
like
next Brian
Team
Burnham.
100. Team 100 and Abeholt. So uh, yeah, Abeholt could be quickly climbing my list too if he keeps doing this whole one catch for 55 plus yards thing for
Yep.
uh, just funny like that. So yeah, Jess.
I would have to go with Brian Burnham because of the
Okay, so
number of amazing plays that he made over these huge catches in so many different games. Unfortunately, it didn't really result in, much playoff success for the team. But like I would say he was the best receiver we had since G. Simon. And
I would agree with that. Yeah.
in particular, there was one game in 2018. I remember I was with my grandpa. They were playing Hamilton at BC Place, and he caught a touchdown with no time left, and then a 2-point convert to
And
tie the game with no
Tom to
time
tie the
left.
game. Oh,
And
yeah.
that one was I remember that one very clearly because the referees initially ruled him out of bounds, but they reviewed the play for like honestly probably 10 minutes, and
Forever. Yeah, I felt so tense. I
they found that
remember that
a
game.
tiny
Yeah.
blade or two of grass was between his foot and the white stripe. So they called it a catch. The Lions went on to win. And that was just amazing. That was also the most exciting game I've ever been to. So if that question comes up, we know my answer. But yeah, Brian Burnham.
Mhm.
I see Brian Burnham's
Yes.
pretty active on Twitter, and he's rooting the Lions on throughout the year. And even his profile picture is one of his catches. He's like reaching up. So
Yeah,
you can see
he's
the
a lion
talent.
at heart. I mean, his career was a bit cut short, but I mean, yeah, he's a career lion, which is great. Like
Yeah.
he's not like Gio Simon. He's not like on the Riders for 1 year. That hurt, and I was there to see him win the Grey Cup with the Riders too. So that hurt even more. But yeah, I'm just glad that yeah he retired a lion, so career lion. So yeah, we got our first similarity, I guess, and it was something I didn't think it would be because I think it would be another question. We'll see if we get it here.
One more?
I
Or
thought players would
how
be a
many more?
lot different, but I thought players would be, spanning the eras, but it's mostly within the past decade.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Uh, favorite non-Canucks hockey moment.
Favorite
Oh,
Nugs? Okay.
So this team,
Oh yeah,
oh
I
it was like
no.
the Senators.
yes, this team, this team has given me plenty of heartbreak. However, there's been plenty of, happy moments I've had, and it was none happier than Daniel Alfredson scoring the Game 5 overtime winner against the Buffalo Sabres in 2007 in the Eastern Conference Final to send the Sens to the Cup.
Buffalo and
And
Ottawa in the
11,
conference
11-year-old
finals.
me was so
Wow.
pumped. I watched it in the mall. Right, I was in a mall
Wow.
watching like most of the game. And I remember as a kid, like I was in the mall watching most of the game on the TV. And I was refusing to go home because I was telling mom, no, I want to keep watching this game, right? No.
What a
But
core memory.
yeah, she forced me to go home, and well, I was listening to the rest of it on the radio, and that was the one time I decided to, actually listen to the game on the radio, right, for once, and I was so, because this was such an historic moment for me, right? Like up to that point, the Sens kept constantly getting beat by the Leafs in the playoffs. And the year before 2007, they got beat by the Sabres, right? So this was the measure of revenge, right? So when I heard Daniel Alfredson scored that goal, right, I went nuts in the van, right?
And
I
that's like
went,
our Canucks moments. Slay the
yeah,
dragon.
yeah. And of course, much like that, unfortunately, after that elation, I was brought back down to earth by the fact that, oh wait, the Ducks beat the Canucks, and now they're facing Descent, and then they promptly destroyed the Sens, and I hate Anaheim ever since, right? uh, but yeah, that's my favorite non-Canucks hockey moment. It's easy because Sens, right? That's my favorite moment. Uh, might be a little bit harder for you two, but give it a shot, Hammer.
This one would be a bit easier if I had my Coyotes jersey in the background, but that's also a bit of a sad moment because they're not really a thing anymore.
Oh my God, that's the worst timing. Just
So, the jersey I did have in the background, a Vemelka jersey. So, Vemelka had been one of my favorite players for 2 seasons, and he made me start watching the Coyotes. I watched almost every game he started in goal. So I got his jersey and I went to the Coyotes game, and obviously it was on the day that they relocated. But I got his attention. I was holding the jersey to the glass, tossed it over, and he signed it. And that was just an incredible moment. It was full circle to get a
Oh,
jersey signed by one of my favorite players. That's a personal thing, but if there's a different moment, like a moment in hockey history, that was my favorite. It would have to be Ovechkin lifting the Stanley Cup
oh,
because, yeah, I'm not particularly like an Ovechkin fan, but just like seeing the emotion on his face, like I won't forget it. That
yeah,
was
I
just
imagine all
amazing.
Capitals fans were just like him, right? Like they were, like one. I had a feeling once they beat the Penguins, they were gonna win the cup because
Oh yeah.
when you slay a dragon like that, 9 times out of 10, you go on and win the championship, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, was 9 times out of 10, right?
Nine times out of 10. Yeah, there's no better player deserving for a Stanley Cup than Ovechkin. He'd been trying for so long, and I think everyone cheered for him in that moment. So that
Yeah,
was
I
a good
mean
moment for
that
me.
was pretty cool.
Yeah,
hmm and he's on his way to try and beat Gretzky's goal scoring record. So we'll see if that
I think he's gonna
happens.
do it.
I think he will.
Me too. Yeah, and JS.
That actually ties nicely into my memory because yes, they're kind of two, really. They both relate to my hatred of Vegas. I've hated them since the day they existed.
Uh,
I have this, conspiracy theory that it's rigged for Vegas. So my first one, well, yeah, when they lost to Washington in the final, the first year I was thrilled. The second year, 2019, in game 7 of the first round against San Jose, they were up 3-0. And then they were called for a really questionable major penalty. I forget who the Vegas player was, but
it
they were
was
called
Paul Stastny?
Cody Eakin.
Cody Eakin, that's it,
Oh,
yeah. He was called for a illegal check to the head of Joe Pavelski when that was not what happened. It shouldn't have been a penalty at all. But they called
Mhm.
it. San Jose was down 3-0. They scored 4 goals on the 5-minute power play and went on to win the game in overtime. And I was like, yes, finally, you're coming back down to earth. You're knowing what heartbreak feels like. I was so thrilled at that moment. And then fast forward 2 years later to 2021
Well,
when
that's
Vegas played Montreal in what was the Stanley Cup semifinals. And Montreal defeated them in game 6 in overtime to go to the final, the first Canadian team in 10 years to make it, and Vegas lost again. I was so thrilled that I cried out of happiness. And I was
This
watching
is
I
the
was
game.
next
the
level
exact
hatred.
opposite. I
You
was the
didn't want the
exact
Habs to
opposite.
win.
No,
No,
you can see the flag though. I just well, if you
I can
can't
see
see
the Sens
the upper
shirt.
half. Yeah, the upper half is in a Montreal logo, right? For good reason. I mean, like, I was a little bit happy for Dallas, but I didn't want to be too happy. Right? I was not rooting for Montreal. I was
Yeah.
only rooting for Montreal against Toronto because I hated Toronto a little bit more. Just a
That was
little bit
also funny
more.
when Montreal came back from down 3-1. I remember in game 5 of their series against Toronto that year with all the playoffs in front of no fans. They scored a 2-0 breakaway goal with Cole Caulfield and Nick
Nixon,
Suzuki
yep.
in
A
front of
Twitter
no fans.
legend
And I thought
started.
this
Right?
was so wild. It was hilarious. And then Montreal went on to win that series. It's pretty great.
Yeah, I like that one, right? But I just wish Ottawa would be able to do that, right? Just
One day.
We
at
all
some
do.
point,
One
one
day.
day.
I just want to say,
Mm.
Jacob, I wasn't expecting, well, maybe it kind of was, but I didn't want to have my favorite moment like because of my hatred of another team, but then you dove right into that with your hatred of Vegas. So I was briefly thinking for a moment, like I was so happy when Edmonton lost the Stanley Cup final in 7 this year
Mm,
because of
me
how
too.
they beat the Canucks. And I was just walking
Mm.
home from my friend's place. I could not stop smiling that Florida won the cup and Luongo won the cup. So that was another great moment for me.
There we
So
go.
another
Yeah, it's
team's
funny because
loss is our success.
Exactly. Schadenfreude.
yeah, I mean, it's also funny because well, I started watching hockey with well, I mean, I introduced hockey with a Floridian friend of mine who lives in like the Panhandle, right? And he we started watching hockey together in 2016, and that was the year after Tampa Bay made it to the Cup final. But Florida was a particularly good team that year. They won the division, and ever since then, it's just I mean, except for 2017, where both the Florida team missed the playoffs, just every year, either Tampa Bay or Florida, they had either deep runs. They had great regular season and then well, yeah, great regular season success and then playoff success eventually, right? And then it's culminated in 5 straight Stanley Cup Finals by the state of Florida, right?
Man.
So I might have we thought we might have an effect on this, right? Because somehow, uh,
Who would have thought?
mm,
Who would have thought?
yeah. I mean, hopefully I get to see a Sens versus Panthers Lightning playoff series at one point, right?
That would be
But
great.
I
First
I
game back is going to be electric.
Absolutely.
yeah. Okay, so fifth question, and we're pretty short on
Oh,
time a little bit here, but
yeah,
yeah,
check the chat.
I think we were going to wrap it up.
yeah. One last question.
Okay. Quick answer. Rapid fire.
Yeah. Better not be the Moai question.
No, it's
Okay.
favorite Canucks hockey moment.
Okay, really
Yeah.
quickly, like
So
That's a good one.
2 sentences.
okay, I guess I would say, my favorite Canucks moment was, yeah, it was also Game 7 versus the Chicago Blackhawks, winning in an overtime, and just like, uh, yeah.
Yeah. My favorite moment would be this year in the playoffs, game 1 against Nashville. I was there. I paid a lot of money to go there. It was the best night of my life, worth every penny. And that goal from Joshua, like I completely lost it. So that was an unbelievable
Yeah,
night.
actually, yeah, I was
That
gonna
was
say
great.
if it wasn't for 2011 run, I would have said probably I think was it game 3 or 4 where Brock Besser had the hat trick, and I think it was
Oh,
game
That was
4.
great too.
running around the living room.
Yeah,
Incredible.
yeah, tied the game with 6 seconds left, and then Lindholm, Bob Stiote winner, and that was the loudest I've screamed ever since the Sens. Oh no, the Canucks were in 2020. I mean, Bo Horvat had some OT goals too, right? But yeah,
Mhm.
that was the loudest I've screamed since the Suns winning the series against Boston, right?
Couldn't lose after that comeback.
And I guess my
Okay.
answer would be to Game 7 against Chicago.
Yeah, you already said.
A little young for that, but looking in the highlight, that's a special moment. Slay the Dragon, Alex Brooks.
Yeah, again, there's definitely commonality where, yeah, both of us have kind of Canucks moments that we wish we were either alive for or we've seen it either in person or in on the TV, right? Again, I wish I could see the Canucks beating the Leafs in the Western Conference Final, which was weird to say, right? Just wait, Toronto West, what? uh, Okay, well, yeah, that's 5 questions. I mean, we'll get to the other ones in our next bye week, and then maybe we can, and then I guess maybe after the bye week, if there's still questions left on it, we can save that for after the
Future episode if
season's
we have
over.
time.
Yeah, if we have,
Offseason.
yeah, we might answer more questions, or yeah, we'll just see if, yeah, it's kind of fluid, but yeah, we've got a decent amount of good content here for our answers. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this bonus episode, and we'll see you next time when BC will be playing, I believe,
Edmonton. Oh, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg, yeah,
Next
Winnipeg,
Thursday.
right?
next
Yes,
Thursday.
that's
We
first
will be
next
there.
Thursday. Yeah,
All right.
yeah, and all right, that's gonna be it from us for today. So yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Next time.
Bye.